Hello and welcome to another video, and today we're going to talk body fat. Now I'm making this video for three reasons. Firstly, to give you some real life examples of body fat percentages. Secondly, and most importantly, to explain to you how some people can look lean and in some cases quite shredded and yet have a relatively high body fat. Thirdly, because my grandma told me if I made this video she'd stop stretching in my front room whilst I was trying to watch TV.
Every night in my dreams.
God's sake, grandma. So before I start, as I always do with these informative type videos, I'm going to ask for two things. Firstly, that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and secondly, that you drop the video a like. Right, let's get into it. Okay, we're in. So first things first, both Igor from Vitruvian Physique and John Venus have both made awesome videos in the past on body fat percentages, giving actual examples, and they both came to the same conclusion that essentially body fat percentage readings are pretty inaccurate. So even the DEXA scan, which is widely considered to be the most reliable means of measuring body fat percentage, still gives some pretty bizarre results. So that's the first thing to bear in mind, right? When we're talking about body fat and body fat percentages, we don't really know. If someone says to you, oh, my body fat is 11.2%, the reality is they don't really know, right? A body fat percentage reading is essentially an estimate. Anyway, in those two videos I just mentioned, they gave examples of body fat percentages from lots of the same athletes. So people like Rob Lipsett, Steve Cook, Jeff Nippard and Kino Body. But what I'm going to do is give you some different examples, right? So I'm going to give you the body fat percentages from some athletes and YouTubers whose body fat you may not already know. Because ultimately, the more examples of body fat percentages you have, the more informed the judgment you can make about people's body fat percentage and your own body fat percentage. And also, and this is an important one, these guys are going to give me evidence when I'm talking about how someone can look lean or even shredded but actually have a relatively high body fat. And also just clear up some of the misconceptions regarding body fat. Right, know what you're thinking, Matt, that's enough, just shut up and show me some naked men and give me their body fat. Alright, calm down, pervert. Okay, first up we have Mike Thurston. Now Mike Thurston did a DEXA scan a few months back and he came out at 15% body fat. Now straight away, I know what you're thinking, what the hell? Like, I've trained with the guy, I've hung out with him, I've seen him firsthand, and I can tell you he's freaking shredded. He looks very, very lean, he's got an incredible physique, and so 15% seems nuts, but that's what the DEXA scan gave him. Next up, we have Joe Delaney. Now, despite Joe's questionable choice of shorts, his body fat reading is 12%, which again, seems slightly high, because again, he looks pretty friggin' shredded, right? Then moving back up the scale, we have Gabriel Say, who's an absolute monster, but again, looks pretty lean, looks pretty shredded. He has a body fat percentage of 13%. And again, I've trained with him on numerous occasions, and I personally would estimate his body fat to be lower than that. And finally, saving the best till last, we have me. Now I did a body fat reading, two body fat readings in fact, a few months back, and I came out at 15%. Now since that point I've lost a little bit of weight. I've also been training for hypertrophy, so I'd estimate now my body fat to be around 14%. And once again, I like to think that I look a little bit leaner than 14%. I mean, I might be wrong, you might be sitting there thinking you're a fat mess. But yeah, again, I reckon that reading seems on the surface to be a little bit high. Okay, so that is the examples done. Now first things first, I imagine that during those examples you sat there and you thought, what? And that's good, right? That's kind of what I wanted you to think, because that's going to illustrate my point perfectly. That point or question being, how can someone be sitting at 12, 13, 14, even 15% body fat and yet look pretty lean? Okay, so the first and by far most significant explanation is body fat distribution. So body fat distribution essentially means where on your body you deposit your body fat. Now, this is hereditary, so it means it's passed down from your parents, and unfortunately, you can't really do much about it. So some people store most of their fat on their stomach, some on their bum, on their thighs, on their back, all kinds of places, but again, it comes down to your genetics. But where you deposit your body fat plays a huge role in how lean you look, or more specifically, how much of your body fat you deposit on your abs plays a huge role in how lean you look. So let's be honest here, when you say that guy looks really lean, what you actually mean is that guy has pretty good abs. And when you say that guy looks shredded, what you actually mean is that guy has really, really good abs. So although looking lean or shredded should be a reflection of how much body fat you have across your whole body, so like on your face or your calves for example, it's not. Your abs have essentially become the barometer for how lean or how shredded you look. And that's why I chose the body fat percentage examples that I chose, myself included, because we all deposit body fat in different places on our body aside from our abs. So going back to Mike Thurston, for example, he puts a lot of his body fat on his quads and his lower back and very little on his abs, which is why you can have a body fat percentage of 15% and yet still look lean, still look pretty shredded. Okay, the second explanation as to why someone can look a lot leaner than they actually are is muscle mass, or more importantly, how much muscle mass you have. Now there's two key points to note here. Firstly, the more muscle mass you have, the leaner you're going to look, right? That's just a fact. So if you have two guys at 15% body fat, but one of them is your average guy and one of them is a bodybuilder, the bodybuilder is going to have the illusion of being leaner than the average guy, even though they both have the same percentage of body fat. And secondly, is going to be the size and the shape of your abs themselves, right? So again, if you have two guys sitting at 15% body fat, both of them have the same amount of fat on their abs. One of them never trains abs, one of them trains abs like 3-4 times a week. Because that guy's going to have bigger abs, they're going to be more defined and more prominent, and therefore again, he's going to have the illusion of being leaner than the other guy. And the third and final explanation is pump and lighting. Now, in a world where Instagram is king, it amazes me that some people still fail to grasp this simple concept. Physique shots on Instagram are staged. That's right, I'll just give you a second to come to terms with that. But that's the truth, right? When anyone posts a physique shot on Instagram or any of the social media, it's being staged. It isn't a friggin' candid shot. It's not like they're walking down the high street and their mate's going, oh, nice abs, get a picture of that, and they posted it. They've taken time to make sure the lighting is right. They've got a pump, they're contracting their abs, they've got a good angle, all that kind of stuff that makes you look 10 times better than you do in reality. So again, to use myself as an example of this, the other day I posted a pretty awkward grinder looking photo of me post-shower, and it was like a bulk update on Instagram, right? I was saying, like, I'm up to 96 kilos now, but I'm still feeling pretty lean, and people were commenting, saying things like, Matt, you're looking pretty shredded, there's no way you're 14% body fat. But the truth is, I am. Like, it's an indisputable fact. But again, that wasn't a candid shot. I took time to make sure the lighting was right. I contracted my abs for a good few seconds first to get them looking really good. And again, I had a really good angle. And all of those things play a huge role in distorting your appearance. Like, it's amazing how simple things like changing the brightness and the contrast and the sharpness of a photo on Instagram can make you look a lot leaner than you actually are. So, in summary, body fat percentage readings are basically pretty inaccurate, right? And even when they are in some cases accurate, they can still be very misleading. Plus, physique shots on Instagram and other types of social media can also be very misleading. In the same way that like a Facebook post is like one little snippet, it's one little good part picked out from loads of other crappy boring stuff that you don't want to share with people. Like when your neighbour Jo and her little baby go on a holiday to Spain, she posts a really nice picture of her and her baby looking all cute lying next to the pool. What she hasn't shown you is when her baby was friggin' sick all over her front, or when her baby did a poo in his nappy and all leaked down his leg. Like, she's showing you a small little edited snippet of her life that makes it look awesome. But in reality, she's a friggin' liar. Jo, stupid bitch. And on that incredibly uplifting note, I'm gonna end the video. So I hope it's been informative and cleared up some of those misconceptions about body fat. It's basically just like doing some research and not taking everything at face value, you know, so you can make an informed decision rather than an impulsive one. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it, guys. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up. Like I said at the start, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, and I will see you tomorrow.